How's everyone doing? Hopefully the summer's going well. So far mine has been good. I just returned from Europe after a few weeks and had some relaxation and enjoyment. I'm not the biggest fan of flying, but it's necessary if you want to travel. Anyway, as usual, let me thank all of you who posted questions and made this video possible. Let's begin. Any interactions or dealings with Carlo Profeta? Actually, when I met Carlo, I wasn't a friend, an inducted member yet. And Carlo's a member of the Lucchese's Brooklyn faction. And what I could add is, he was also one of the guys who wouldn't report to Big John. Carlo was spending a lot of time in Florida, but when in New York, he hung out in the restaurant Don Pepe and essentially wanted nothing to do with the mob, as he preferred fishing instead. Who had the shortest run as a made man in life? I know of one or two guys who were shelved inside of 2 years, and I'm sure there's stories about people who had shorter runs for one reason or another. I myself walked away after 5 years. Do you know if Montreal Cosa Nostra uses the same organizational structure as the New York City Five Families? I honestly don't know. They have their own way of doing things in Canada, and that could include structure. I do know this latest arrest of Leonardo Rizzuto is a major setback and can shake things up in Montreal. Have you ever heard of a guy who may have broken the rules or been in serious trouble and paid his way out of it? I know of situations where people have handed over money to smooth those situations over. You should never forget, money is the mob's god, so much so that it can sway decisions. When John Gotti took over the family, well, there are a lot of Gambino turncoats that wanted to branch away and join other families, or other families promoting this type of behavior, considering it was frowned upon what Gotti did. Well, for starters, any members of the Gambino family remained with that family, no matter what their feelings were. The only people who were able to switch families were associates, and that would have to be approved by the Gambino administration. Never lose sight of an important fact. Gotti and his people took out the boss of a family. So a more appropriate question should be, do you think anyone in the family, members or associates, would not watch their P's and Q's? The answer's obvious. No one during that time would dare to make any waves. The tone, most likely, was as follows. We whacked the boss, what chance do you have? In the era of legalized sports betting, have a lot of bookies closed up shop? Online gambling, without question, phased out a great deal of bookmakers, but the mob transitioned by creating gambling websites. A correlating question is, has legal sports betting been a shot in the arm for loan sharking? I've always said gambling and loan sharking at times go hand in hand. However, I don't believe legalized gambling affected loan sharking. People will always be in need of quick money, as not everyone can get a loan from the bank. During your time in the life, was Vicar Musso's approval needed for the Lucchese administration to induct new members into the family? The acting bosses during my time, Matty Madonna and Mikey DeSantis, did not need to get approval from Vic to induct new members. In the brief period when Stevie Cree was the only member of the administration left on the street, was the family's ability to function disrupted in any way by not having an acting boss or consigliere? The period you're speaking of, when there was voids in the administration, was when the Brooklyn faction made a move to quickly fill those voids, and before Stevie attempted to fill them with members of the Bronx faction. But to answer your question, the family operated as usual. Do you think the Canadian faction of the Bonanno family was in fact the sixth family? While there's no doubt they operated as a family of their own, I wouldn't necessarily call them a sixth family, as they were not part of the United States where the five families operated. The following question comes from a longtime viewer and someone I consider a friend, Mr. Green. With all the big players of the mafia in Italy being taken out of service, so to say, who will be stepping up to take these leadership roles while these men are incarcerated? Do you think some other organization could move in and bypass the Italian crime groups and get an upper hand in the drug distribution process? One of the things the investigations have revealed is how quickly the mafia in Italy regroup after law enforcement's crackdowns. Most bosses manage to run their families or clans right from prison and always have members to step into a leadership role if need be. As far as other organizations getting the upper hand, the 'Ndrangheta has controlled drug distribution in Europe for some time now, and I don't believe they're going to give that up so easily. When you were in the life, did the Lucchese family have a crew in Florida operating? None that I was ever aware of. Did you ever meet Frank Scarpati? Do you know who sponsored him and why they had to be deceptive? I officially met Frankie Cat years ago and had some dealings with him. I don't know who put him up or why they used a different nickname on the list passed around. Did you know Anthony Mangana to be a Lucchese member? In September 1989, on orders of Vic Amuso, Anthony Mangana and Joey Blue Eyes Constantino killed Johnny Fatface Petrocelli for harboring Gus Harachi, who killed a DEA agent. I officially met Constantino, but never met or heard of Mangana, so I don't know if he's a member or not. Here's a related question. Were Joey Constantino's sons straightened out by the Lucchese family? Despite things that were written online, I never was introduced to either of them or heard of them being members. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. And for anyone who'd like to show appreciation for videos like this or to help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. It can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. And for the final question, what advice would you give someone whose young family member is on the wrong path and not accepting help? Unfortunately, I was once that young man. As the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And the same goes in this situation. You could only try talking to this young person, not in a lecturing way, but my advice, try to be more understanding. Young people always feel misunderstood, especially by adults and family members. At the end of the day, it falls on them alone to want to listen to good advice, and most of us have to learn the hard way. I'll end this question and answer video by saying it's a pleasure interacting with you viewers. I'm always hopeful that advice I give or something I may say may somehow help people. I believe, despite the minority of haters, there are still good people out there, and it gives me hope. So I thank you all. Every now and then, I hear from a viewer who tells me that I've helped them in some way, and that means a lot to me. And let me just add, there are viewers who've become friends to me, and I fully appreciate them. We are people, strangers, who've come to respect one another. It's not about who I once was or who they are. Above all, we're humans.